You want to talk about Cenk now?
Yeah. I do. I mean, at the end of Cenk, Cenk, did he think that the Democrats loved him or something? Was that what he was doing? Like, remember he was his whole shtick, was that he was running as somebody who was like against the Democratic establishment.
Yeah, that's his shtick.
That's a shtick, and then
even though he
Trump
endorsed Hillary Clinton and promotes a bunch of DNC talking points, but he's independent and far left and everything.
Well,
so he's totally different.
I'm going to tell you what happened, because it was always bullshit. But after Trump won, the Democratic establishment had no fucking idea what the fuck just happened. It was like the world ended, and they were trying to rebuild, and so they assumed that one of the reasons that they lost was that they didn't embrace the internet like Cenk Uygur, like Young Turk program. So, or somehow they made the far left the anti-democratic party. So they gave Cenk a fucking boatload of money, like a lot of fucking money, and so to build his show. But when that money came strings, because Cenk started to toe the fucking Democrat Party line, he became what do you call it? A stalking horse or a sheepdog? That's what it is. A sheepdog.
Stalking horse.
Like there's a term for it. I forgot, but he was sheepdogging the far left, the ones that are disenfranchised with the Democratic Party. He was moving them into the Democratic direction.
I just think the people that follow that stuff are dumb. I would have more respect for them if they weren't part of the Democratic Party. You could have the farthest left ideas in the world, and there are people out. It's just, there are people that are like, "Oh, I'm a socialist," and I'm not even voting for Democrats. But that's like a fringe of people. Most of the far leftists are incorporated within the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party is corrupt.
Well, yes, it is.
So how do you want the government to be bigger, and when it's so corrupt, it's ridiculous.
It is a contradiction, And,
do something about the corruption first.
He didn't run as a socialist. He didn't run as a Green Party. He's running as a
he's like a democratic socialist.
Yeah, no, but he's in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
It's like, but I'm saying the whole notion that I'm not a Democrat, I'm a Democratic socialist. If you're in the Democratic Party, you're a fucking Democrat. That's
I just think that it makes very little difference you could have totally different opinions on stuff from being a neoliberal Democrat or a far left Democrat, but at the end of the day, they're all Democrats, and the party is it's corrupt, it's nonsense, it's a crime organization.
Well, at the end of the day, Cenk, that loser, he thought he was going to be embraced by the Democratic Party because they gave him a lot of money and they were praising him.
He's part of that Justice Democrats stuff.
He
did get candidates elected, like AOC, Ro Khanna, maybe a couple others.
Yeah, but did he start that, or did he just jump on the fucking bandwagon?
No, he left it, but I think he's like at least one of the co-founders of it.
Yeah,
the Justice Democrats, and then he left for some reason. But maybe it was his controversial comments. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
He got unendorsed by Bernie, by the way.
Well, this is what I think happened. Taken aside, I'm not convinced that he started the Justice Democrats anyway. He might have been
I don't know
what you call it, a figurehead for it. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people, a lot of the Democratic establishment hates the fact that this motherfucker got people like AOC elected because she's more headache than she's worth to the Democrats. I think
everybody from TYT with integrity left already. Like Jimmy Dore, Michael Tracy. There's some other ones that left that I might not like as much. And there's tons of stuff I disagree with with Michael Tracy and Jimmy Dore. On the other hand, they had enough integrity to leave the Young Turks and not be Russiagators, so that counts for something.
Well, either they left or they for integrity reasons, or they left because there's no fucking money to pay them anymore.
Another thing, I think Cenk is running for office because I don't. Maybe TYT's not doing that well. I don't know.
I don't think it is. Well, I think the money dried up. I think back to my earlier point. I think the Democrats were using outlets like the Young Turks to sort of tide them over until the next election. Maybe like reestablish contacts with the far left, bring them back into the Democratic Party. And I think that backfired on them two ways. One, it lost them somebody like Crowley. Crowley was Nancy Pelosi's second in command. She and him were tight like for like a long time. And here comes this AOC, and because Crawley got lazy and he wasn't expecting this, they were okay with these far lefties being in a race as long it energizes the base and whatever, as long as they lose, as long as the establishment Democrat wins, and then they have no choice but to support the establishment Democrat. And then what happened is Crawley loses, and then you get these other weirdos like Ilhan Omar getting in the race, and that causes the Democrats more headaches than they're worth. So that's one strike against Cenk. The other is they're coming up with a general election, and they don't want to look like they're too far left. They're scared of that. One of Biden's strongest points is that he's running as a conservative Democrat, like on most things. He's not one of these firebrand Democrats. That,
I would just call them centrists and stuff. I think maybe some of the lesser known people might legitimately be conservative Democrats, but in general, I think it's kind of a contradiction because, I guess you can say they're more right than the far leftists.
Yeah,
I would consider them conservative, though.
No, you're totally correct.
You can call them moderate or centrist, I guess.
Yeah. So that's what I think happened. Those two factors, plus Cenk is an asshole, and no one likes him anyway. And
I guess
stupid.
A conservative Democrat would be somebody who still believes in Jim Crow. That'd be like old school, right?
Yeah, a good one.
The 1950s and 1850s Democrats.
Yeah, exactly. There's no difference. 2005 Democrats, but I think at the end of the day, Cenk out the money from the Democratic establishment dried up. They gave him an endowment for about a year and a half or so, and then the money went away. And now Cenk is struggling. He's not raising any fucking money. He has no viewership on YouTube. He used to have some sort of viewership, but they all went away.
They have millions of subscribers that they don't watch anymore.
They don't watch. It's just one of those, and a lot of those are fake subscribers too. As soon as the Democrats started backing him, he got a lot of bot support, because they wanted to jigger the YouTube algorithm. He got a lot of bot support, but you could tell he's not making any money. He has no viewership. Look at his videos and how many likes and dislikes and views he has. Nothing. He's nothing. What's his name? Tim Pool gets more views than the Young Turks. The Young Turks get nothing, and those people who watch it probably don't contribute any fucking money either.
I think some of the people are hate watching, and some of them are legit. Okay, some of them aren't progressives and they're hate watching, but I think some of them are actual progressives, but they're sick of just like the DNC talking points and sheepdogging and stuff, and pretending to have integrity and saying get money out of politics while they take all this money from donors.
Well, I use my little brother, who's in his late 20s, as a template. He was somebody who liked watching the Young Turks, not because he agreed with them. He kind of agreed with them. He was a Bernie bro. He was anti-democratic establishment, but he was sort of Democrat. At the time he was unemployed. He went through college. He's in the computer field. He couldn't find a steady job, so he was sort of looking at the Democratic Party as a solution. That's before Trump came along, and the Young Turks, even though he's a Turkish guy, he kind of appealed to my brother's sensibility and that he was anti the establishment and whatnot. But then my brother saw through, after he watched it for a long time, I noticed he stopped watching, and I told him, "Oh, you're not watching the Young Turks anymore?" He goes, "No, that guy's full of shit. He contradicts himself a lot of times." And then I could tell, because I used to watch him before.
A lot of times Anna will be the voice of reason. I think she's also a lying propagandist, but I really think she's more professional, consistent. Like you see, people on MSNBC or CNN, whereas he is just a mess. He'll just start making shit up and bellowing.
Well, you got to understand. I think, yes, I noticed that too. I think she doesn't get paid She just gets paid a salary.
Like
She
she'll
doesn't
call
make
him
a-
out when he says that like bestiality and pedophilia is okay. She'll be like, well, let's pump the brakes on that.
Yeah. She's looking for the future. There's not going to be Young Turks anymore. So and she's not making that much money anyway.
She's been disgruntled
So
for a while too. She was saying stuff on the air about it.
Yeah,
a while back.
She's lost it. Yeah, she's not making a lot of money. She has nowhere. She's disgruntled. It's obvious. I think
Cenk put her in charge of the show or something because since he's running for office, it's pretty weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I don't know what the fuck she's doing on that show.
I hope she got a raise or something. Probably not.
She's Armenian.
Probably just the title.
She's Armenian. She's Armenian, and she's sitting around with the Armenian genocide denier.
The Young Turks.
Weird. Yeah, it's fucking weird. I mean, it should have. Again, it goes to like my little brother when he was a raging liberal. Why are you watching this Turk guy call himself the Young Turk? Don't you know what the Young Turks did to our family and stuff? He goes, man, I get it, but he's the only anti-establishment voice on the YouTube, And then like when Trump wins and my brother gets a job, that pays the most he's ever been paid in his life.
There's nothing anti-establishment about Russiagate and Orange Man bad though.
That's when my brother turned on Cenk and whatnot. He kind of saw through their bullshit. As soon as Trump won, they started towing the establishment party line of the Democrats. And my brother remembers the before and after. And he kind of turned on the Young Turks. And like, this guy's full of shit. I didn't watch the Young Turks at all. The only experience I had with the Young Turks is that election night meltdown that they had, which I watched a million fucking times.
I just became aware of them right as they were selling out. So
Yeah. No, I wasn't aware of them until they sold out. My brother was aware of them before and after, and his conclusion was like, oh man, I could tell it's so obvious something happened to Cenk. Either they got to him, they got to him and he's towing the party line, or he ran out of bullshit. He
did a lot of weird videos in an election season, like it would just be him like streaming on his phone or something.
Yeah.
Or he's like, Trump's gonna lose. Trump's gonna lose. Loser Trump, or I forget what he had tried to come up with like a nickname.
Well, yeah, because the
totally
Democrats
off
can't.
base.
Yeah, the Democrats can't meme, so he was trying to do meme shit. Like they thought the secret sauce was like if they found out like a killer meme that would end Trump's right away.
What do you make of Bernie endorsing Cenk, and then Cenk says he's not taking any endorsement? At first he's like, "Yay, I got endorsement." And he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to take any," and then Bernie takes it back.
Well,
when people are talking about the bestiality quote.
Well, Bernie had to do it because he got hate from the Democratic Party, and then he had to come up with this excuse why he would rescind his endorsement without looking like he's attacking Cenk. So they come up with this non-endorsement.
And Bernie loves the squad, and they love him, and he endorsed. He voted for Hillary and endorsed her, so it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It kind of also shows that Bernie has no fucking resolution whatsoever. There's nothing resolute about him.
I just think it's weird that why did the endorsement happen and then Cenk decides he's not taking endorsement and he takes it back, or maybe Bernie decided that he was going to take it back and then they tried to spin it somehow.
That's exactly what I think happened. That's exactly what I was trying to describe. I think what happened was Bernie, the establishment got to Bernie. The establishment got to Bernie, and Bernie had to come up with an excuse.
Well, people were talking about the bestiality stuff.